Today is Friday, 12 December 2008. I'm at the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Wayne Clarke, and I am doing a telephone interview today with Mr. Falzarano. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and your date and place of birth?
Louis George Falzarano. I was born in Richmondville, New York, September 5, 1925.
Okay, and did you attend school there?
I attended school in Richmondville, New York.
Okay, and did you graduate from high school?
I did not graduate from high school in Richmondville because I left going to the military.
Okay. Do you remember where you were when you heard about the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
Yes, I remember very distinctly. December 7th, I was in the living room in my father and mother's home in Richmondville, New York.
Okay. And did you hear it on the radio?
I heard it on the radio.
Okay. All right. And when did you enter the service?
I'm trying to look it up on my military stuff right here. I'll have it to you in just a minute here.
Now, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps.
Okay. And why did you pick the Marine Corps?
Because my brother, Lorenzo Falzarano, was in the Navy. He was on Guadalcanal.
Okay. All right. And do you recall when you enlisted?
Yes, my father and mother went with me to the bank in Richmondville to have witness sign the papers of being 17 years old.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was 1943.
Okay. And where did you go for your basic training?
I went to Parris Island, South Carolina. We had a short 7 months, take it back, 7 weeks, because they needed infantrymen in the Battle of the Pacific. So we were in Parris Island. We had a short visit home. Then I went to New River, North Carolina for training. Went to signal school, but the ended up being just a Marine or assault rifleman.
Okay. How long was your signal school?
I would say probably a month.
Okay. And what type of signaling did you learn there?
Well, the fundamentals of signaling, hand signals and stuff like that.
Okay.
As much as I can remember.
Okay. And then were you shipped overseas?
No, that was not. There was an advanced detail being shipped to California, and I was on that call list of the men, advanced detail to go to Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, California, to where we went into our training for combat.
Okay. And how long were you at Camp Pendleton?
In Camp Pendleton, as much as I can remember, I'm a little hesitant here because
Okay, that's all right.
I forgot.
All right. Now, from Pendleton, you got aboard a ship?
At Camp Pendleton, we went to San Diego, boarded the ship, and we were shipped to Hilo, Hawaii, for more combat training. And from Hilo, Hawaii, we went back aboard ship because they needed, in other words, the big push was going on in the Pacific, and when we were on board ship and we had training to disembark and back on again, we were into an awful lot of rough seas. And then we went back aboard ship. We was on a Higgins boat quite a few hours because the sea was so rough that we had to not get back we were probably on the water from early morning to late night to get back because the sea was so rough. And we had quite a few casualties from that training. And from there, after we got back on, stabilized, then we're in the Pacific and we're headed towards, it didn't give us any particular name of where we were going. And we found out in the Ranagoo area, they were bombing this island with all the forces they had. And come find out, the island was Iwo Jima.
Oh, boy. Okay. Okay, and when you landed on Iwo Jima, were you in the first wave or one of the following waves?
I was with the 5th Marine Division,
Okay.
28 Marines, 5th Engineers, and we hit the beach, not the first assault, but we hit the beach about 9 o'clock in the morning. And it was hell, let's put it that way. I got hit the first day, shrapnel on my left arm, and right behind me, some other Marines were pinned down. It got all 5 of them, but I survived that without McCormick patched me up and gave me a shot of brandy, and then from here on it was just hell.
Oh, okay, now you were wounded. How were you wounded?
In the left shoulder, left arm.
And that was with shrapnel or?
Shrapnel.
Okay. Okay, and then what happened next after that?
Well, after that, the casualties were heavy. We were doing everything. We were blowing up pillboxes. They could see us, but we could not see them. We had to dig them out. I was a demolition man. I was carrying explosive bags of explosive. We put them on the entrance to these caves and blow them up. We then would go in between different things, and as we were fighting, and this say it was just hell. And we then we're picking up casualties, helping, then blowing up entrance to caves, and falling over our own buddies that were ahead of us, and trying to get protection from tanks, going up these little knolls. Then come find out we're on top of Mount Saratoga. And it took was February 23rd when the first flag went up on Mount Saratoga. And all of a sudden I said, look, there goes the big flag. So I see both flags going up on Mount Saratoga. Me and my buddies, we were blowing up the entrance to these caves, and they told me that they had a lot of bodies in these caves. I can't know how many bodies they were, but that was my job. I was a demolition man.
Okay. Now, obviously you had training in demolitions?
I had training in demolition, yes.
Okay. What type of explosives were you using? Were you using dynamite or like C4s?
Well, this stuff was in satchels. You could move around the entrance of anything. And then I carried those particular bags, and my buddies would be carrying the detonator to detonate it all.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yes. Okay. And now you were with a engineering platoon?
I was with the 5th Marine Engineers.
Okay. Okay. And could you...
We were attached to the 28th Marines.
Okay.
This is why we were on Mount Saratoga.
Okay. And that was the 8th, did you say before the 8th Engineer Battalion?
The 28th Marines.
Yeah.
We were the 5th Marine Engineers.
Oh, okay, the 5th. Okay. All right, I just wanted to write that down. Okay. All right. And besides being a demolitions man, you acted as a rifleman too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And did you have a lot of resistance from the Japanese that were in the caves, obviously you're trying to blow up the caves and seal the entrances. You guys probably suffered a lot of heavy casualties, just trying to do your job.
We suffered an awful lot of casualties. In other words, it was not to my knowledge, and is the way I see it today, and all the memories coming back to me, how bad and how brutal it was, and how if you try to dig in, but you couldn't dig too much. It was like a sulfur island, and you could not sleep. If you did doze off, somebody had to be awake. There'd be 2 or 3 of us in a foxhole, which you call a foxhole, and you didn't dare, when it got dark, we had to watch very careful of infiltration banzai attacks from the Japanese, because they would infiltrate, because they could see us and we couldn't see them until they got on top of us. And they had one of the worst experience I ever had. They had a flying ash can that would drop from a trough or something, object like that. And that one of them hit our CP, but we had no casualties. But we had to watch out for that when they were doing that every opportunity that they had, and most generally would be at nighttime.
Now how big of a device was that? The flying ash can?
I don't know what the thing ever was. Never got to see it.
Okay.
But it made, we could hear it whizzing through the air, then bing, then explode.
Okay.
It was cruelly made, but the Japanese were very, very intelligently smart on that island.
Okay. What did you do for water and food?
What we did with food, we had no food to speak of. In the battles that we were going through, we had hay rations. And we had water that was out of gasoline cans. That's what it tasted like. It was not good drinking water.
Okay. How long were you on Iwo Jima?
Up the middle of March.
Okay. All right. And eventually, were you involved in the mopping up aspect of that?
No, I was not. When I got hit by a mortar explosion. And when I came to in Guam at a Naval, where they were shipping all the wounded to Guam. Then from there, I was on board at the
Okay, so you were wounded twice on Iwo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how bad was your wound?
It ended up in a hospital in Guam. Thought I had a broken back from the explosion. And from Guam, we ended up in Hawaii. From Hawaii, they sent the personnel to San Francisco. And when I was in San Francisco Naval Hospital, then I was shipped to Newport, Rhode Island, where I got my medical discharge.
Okay. And how long were you hospitalized for?
It was over 6 months.
6 months, okay. Okay. And when were you discharged? Approximately.
When I discharged, it was, let's see what I can't find all the stuff I got.
Okay. So the war was still on when you were discharged?
The war in the Pacific ended.
Oh, it had ended, okay. All right. So you were in the hospital when you heard about the dropping of the atomic bomb?
I was, yes.
Okay. All right. Was there a lot of celebration when the war ended?
Nothing I can recall because I was so dumbfounded from all the buddies that I lost on Iwo.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so once you got out of the hospital, you came back to Richmondville?
I then came back to my father-in-law's home in Richmondville, New York.
Okay. All right, and were you still, even though you were home, were you kind of limited as to what you could do physically?
Yes.
Okay. Did you make use of the GI Bill?
I had on-the-job training with the GI Bill, yes.
Okay, and what sort of training did you receive?
I refer to plumbing and heating.
Oh, okay. All right. And is that what you did for the rest of your working career?
That's what I did. I had to turn the business over to my two boys because I couldn't handle it anymore, and going back and forth to the hospital for different treatments and so forth.
Okay. All right. So obviously you received, of course, you received a medical discharge, and you were judged giving a disability pension also?
Back at that time, I was awarded a 50% disability.
Okay.
And today, I'm 100% disabled.
All right. Okay. I understand. All right. And did you join any veterans organizations?
I had joined, yes, I joined first the VFW in Richmondville, in Cobleskill, New York, which is 5 miles from Richmondville.
Okay.
And then I got to be the commander of Untitled Chapter 70 in Inverness, and I belonged to the American Legion, which had been with the American Legions for, 65 or 6 years, something like that.
Okay. Did you stay in contact with anyone you were in the service with?
Yes, I was in contact, and he was with me, and he lives in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. James Griffin, a very good friend, and I haven't seen him now in about 8 years.
Okay. All right. And have you ever attended any reunions?
I have never been able to attend any reunions. I tried to, I started my own plumbing and heating business, but I had to turn it over to my two boys because I couldn't handle it anymore.
Okay.
Because I go on a job in my, like right now, for the last 2 months, and I've been going back to the VA hospital in Gainesville for my back problem, which I get down, I can't get back up again, and most certainly I'm either laying down or I'm in bed trying to relax, because if I get down, it's like somebody, I have to go back to the VA. I should have went there yesterday, but somehow I didn't get the letter till yesterday. I called them and I said, what went wrong? Well, they don't know what went wrong. Sometimes they don't keep up with their paperwork right.
Okay.
And I got to go up there Tuesday now again.
Okay. How do you think your time in the service changed? Obviously, because of your wound, it affected your life, but overall, how do you think the time in the service had a change on you?
It had a great change, but in other words, going as a young 17-year-old, and today at 83 years old, I was proud to serve my country, and I'm glad that I went in, but I say my only regrets is of the buddies that I lost on Iwo Jima. But I do go back to the VA hospital once a month and to see mental health, which I had quite a problem with.
Oh, I understand. We've interviewed a lot of veterans, and that's that's very, very common. And I want to thank you for your service and for participating in our program. And I'm going to stop the machine now, and I'll talk to you offline here for a minute or so.
Okie doke.